Hello and welcome back to the Hustlamanticha TV once again. My name remains George Asare, and today too we are going to walk ourselves through the alleys and the valleys of our past societies. That is why in the previous episode we were able to walk ourselves through the history and the emergence of societies across the world, ranging from northwestern part of America up to Australia, Africa, in the Middle East and the rest. Today we are going to take our discussion to Egypt. You see, in the previous discussion, one interesting aspect that we came across was that the earliest evidence of mankind's engagement in agricultural activities came from a certain small societies that were established in Egypt some time ago, and the society was Fayum. So this means that agriculture was so much developed within that particular society, and that speaks to the genesis of the agricultural activities of the ancient Egyptian civilization, which we have started studying. So the question that remains unanswered is that how is it that these people were able to discover that the land of Fayum, that particular geographical location, was suitable for them to settle down and develop their society? Now that would take us back in history about 4 million and 5 million years ago, before the birth of Christ. There is a certain place in Africa called the Sahara Desert. This desert that we see today was habitable by 4 million years ago. The place was full of lakes, animals like the cattle, animals like antelope, almost all the animals that we can ever find in the tropical forest of Africa today. All of these particular animals were there. Lakes and rivers. So that particular place that we know today as a desert supported life some time ago. Different trees, different animals, so many rivers, so many lakes, so many streams. So that particular place that we see today as a desert supported life for all living beings. As a result of environmental changes, as a result of climatic changes, as a result of ecological changes, that is very normal with the development of mankind and this particular earth itself. This particular place started changing its survival mechanism for living beings, and as a result of that, the place started drying up. And that was the beginning of the shift of these hunter-gatherer societies from that particular region in search of some other places that are more suitable for the establishment of societies. So these hunter-gatherer societies, because the Sahara was losing its survival mechanism of living beings, decided to move towards places that could support mankind. And that is why they were able to move to settle along the Nile River, which laid the foundation of the ancient Egyptian civilization. Now, there is a certain man known as Herodotus. This man is very popular in the field of history. Now, this man described Egypt as the son of the Nile. Now, there is a reason for that. This river originates from Lake Victoria in the south up to the north to join the Mediterranean. One special thing about this particular river is that it is the longest river in the world, and about 160 kilometers before it joined the Mediterranean in the north, the river divides itself into 3 tributaries, forming a very wide delta which the people of ancient Egypt relied on in their agricultural activities. The land of Egypt is such that rain, as at that time, was not common in that place, and that the land of Egypt depended solely on the ability of this particular river to give them a water source to water or to irrigate their various crops that they used in that particular place. In fact, the Nile was the sole reasons why the ancient Egyptian civilization became what it is in history today. According to history, most of the kingdoms, most of the dynasties of ancient Egypt that failed, that collapsed, was as a result of the Nile's inability to provide efficient water source for the development of agriculture in this particular place. So yes, it was very much perfect for our hereditors to call Egypt as the son of the Nile. In fact, most of the time, if Egypt wants to transport some surplus produce from their farms to some other lands, they use the Nile. They use the Nile in their communication so that they can get into contact with some other people within this particular region. Now, how is it that these people, irrespective of the scarcity of rainfall, were able to produce so much food within their civilization, which laid the foundation of that particular place? Every September, the river overflooded its boundaries, and at a point in time, they will patiently wait for the river to recede or to take back its position. Now, when the river recedes, there is a very stretch of land at the side of the river that is left for the people to use in their agricultural activities. And that is how the Nile helped the civilization of ancient Egypt. One thing about the river also is that anytime the river recedes, it leaves behind a certain form of nutrients that enrich the land, which historians refer to as silt. This particular mineral and some other moisture were able to neutralize the land in such a way that it will support the grain agriculture which the ancient Egyptian people predominantly engaged themselves in. So speaking of agriculture, this group of people not only engaged themselves in the field of crop production, but also engaged themselves in the field of animal production. And that is why the history will tell you that the animal like the sheep, the cattle, and the goat were all being produced in the ancient Egyptian civilization about 4,000 years, even before the birth of Christ. There was another development in the irrigation system of this particular people. One thing about them is that they were able to intelligently invent a certain tool which they refer to as the shadoof. This shadoof was made up of a very long crossbar resting on a pivot which joins it to the ground. Now, at the very end of the crossbar, they tied a rope onto a bucket to join that particular crossbar. And when they are in need of water source to irrigate their farms, they will just lower the bucket by using the other end of the crossbar into some canals that they had joined to the river. So that is how they were engaging in agricultural activities, even during the times that the river had receded to take up its normal shape which was there. One important aspect of the agricultural development in ancient Egypt was that ancient Egyptians were able to now have access to abundant food resources, ranging from animals, milk, ranging from grains to so many other food sources. And that impacted the economic lifestyle of the people. So it was as a result of agriculture that the ancient Egyptian civilization gained its ability to finally develop. Because one thing about society is that if the people have access to food, the basic necessity of life, it is very simple for the society to develop, because other people will now have to focus on other aspects of life, which will holistically form the overall development of the society as a whole. So that is what happened back in the days, about 4,000 years, even before the birth of Christ. So agriculture laid foundation for the development of ancient Egyptian civilization.